Joining me now is Cornerstone Group Senior Director James Cullen and from the Menzies Research Centre, Director Nick Cater. Thanks, gentlemen, both for your time. I want to start with you, Nick. So the government trying to take the heat out of this. I think a lot of people understand why various positions needed to be taken. Looking back, though, do you think the government, if it could, and I know it won't say this, but you're free to, would it do anything differently over the past year or so?
Look, I don't think there's anything much you can do in these circumstances, Tom. I mean, the fact is that it is China that is behaving way outside the international agreed rules on this. They're not playing this according to the way we expect diplomats to behave. It's China, by all accounts, that has shut out our government from any form of communication or phone call. And under those circumstances, I think that Scott Morrison and the Foreign Minister are doing the best they can, which is to try to keep talking as civilly as you can, to try and urge China to keep to its agreements on trade and keep trading like a normal nation and not to carry on in this way. I just think that, it would be a very long bow to say that we had somehow provoked China into this, and I think anybody who said that really is being... really hasn't studied the way China has changed in the last few years under Xi Jinping. It's become much more belligerent. It's behaving like this to a lot of its neighbours. You know, any suggestion that the government could do other than it's doing, I think, is just not realistic.
Yeah, look, Labor's pointing out maybe, Marise Payne coming out, calling for this inquiry the way she did before getting the support. Oh, there's your rhetoric. But Anthony Albanese, James, came out and said, look at the way Kevin Rudd handled China, look at John Howard. To what Nick was saying there, what's changed the most since then surely isn't what our leaders have done, because the coalition signed up for chapter. It was full steam ahead with China. It was a change in Xi Jinping. That just seems self-evident to any China watchers.
Yeah, look, that's probably right, Tom. There's no doubt China's taking on a more aggressive posture, but I mean, let's be frank. This relationship is at rock bottoms. It's in a state of flux, but it's also our most important trading relationship. And we're seeing in market after market, China taking a series of deleterious actions, if you like, against Australian exporters. So, I think it's obvious and it needs to be a subject of debate and commentary. I don't like foreign policy being a subject of domestic political debate, but the reality is that it's such a low ebb that there needs to be some sort of bring around here. And I mean, if month after month and year after year, this is our relationship with China, we've got some serious issues on the economic front. We rely on that relationship in so many ways. So we need to turn things around. And I think Labor pointing out the odd difference in terms of position that it might take with the Australian government isn't a problem. I think we need to work out how we can do things better. And this can't continue on month after month and year after year.
And yet, the key difference, in terms of Labor pointing out that difference you mentioned, I mean, what is that in a hard policy sense? Because, OK, maybe there can be some more diplomatic deftness, if you like, but while we continue to stand up and support our allies in the South China Sea, while we've led on 5G, which other countries followed us on, while we've been a big part of the COVID inquiry, it doesn't matter how nicely you present these things, does it? We're not going to be China's best friend at the moment.
Yeah, look, Tom,
right,
look,
Tom.
I mean,
I think. Go on. Who are you addressing? Can I carry on? So, Tom, I think that the thing about Labor's problem on this is they look half-hearted about China in trying to pick holes here. I mean, the thought that they should actually look at their own history a bit. I mean, everybody remembers that very, very strong and emotional speech that Bob Hawke gave in the wake of Tiananmen. He gave it against the advice of his foreign affairs advisers, but he felt that on a matter of principle, when China was slaughtering its own people en masse in the heart of Beijing, he just felt we had to speak out about it. And I think that's right. We do have to stand on this as a matter of principle. And the point about these trade sanctions that China seems to want to impose is, of course, it will be very difficult for Australia. You can see how the wine industry, for instance, is going to be badly hit. But trade benefits both countries, the people of both countries, and both countries have become prosperous on the back of this free trade. So it's hurting its own people by using trade as a weapon. And I think that just goes to show you what we're up against.
Well, look, I guess for now it's still the government's problem. It does probably need to try to make some progress here, albeit it will be difficult. We'll see.